Hello and welcome everybody to the third annual FlyPaper Summit. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nick Fredericks, the CEO of FlyPaper Technologies. I'm excited for all of the great content that we've got coming up in the summit. We've got a lot of good updates on Sherlock and our FlyPaper platform. So I'm going to start with just doing a quick little recap of who we are as FlyPaper. And who we are these people. So you have myself, Dan Stevenson, who is our CTO, and you'll hear from very soon. Andrew Stone, who's our marketing manager. I'm sure you have received many an email from Andrew. And we also still have our strategic partnership with Encircle, where we have two engineers there, Ajit Kanjali and Amit Mandel. So I'm going to just quickly hand this over to Dan Stevenson, and he's going to tell you a little bit about what we've done with our products over the last year.
Cool. Thank you, Nick. Let me get this slide going. So yes, here's some updates on our products, just some interesting analytics for everybody. So what did we do last year with Sherlock? Well, Sherlock continues to grow with now over 400 million clashes group. We're up by 100% from last year. Over 7,500 workdays have been saved, so that's up over 115%. We have grown to 205 companies that are using Sherlock worldwide. That's up by 26 companies since last year. And we are now in 10 countries. 10 countries have people using Sherlock. We're up by 2 companies this year, so we're pretty proud of that. Moving over to Daily, we announced Daily, I think, at our first summit, and it's been steadily growing in usage over the last couple of years. We're currently now at over 1,000 active users. That's up over 55% since last year. You know, we had this total last year too, or talking about the number of dailies that have been generated across all the projects. We're over 37,000, so that's up 68%, a 68% increase since last year. And now with over 285 projects on Daily, it's getting used very heavily. And we're very pleased, and we're continually getting feedback from users, you know, asking us for help, asking us for improvements. Last year, we announced our work on pole planning software called PlanScan. PlanScan, when we announced it last year, was in a private beta. It has remained in a private beta for the last year. We currently have 5 projects that have actively been using it, so about 25 users who have been running pole planning sessions and leading their projects in pole planning sessions, with over 4,800 activities planned across those 5 projects. So those are just some quick updates with respect to usage. And we're going to do some other updates as well, just talking about some key figures related to features, bug counts, and stuff like that. So going back to Sherlock, over 16 customer-facing issues that were addressed in Sherlock. 7 new features, pretty exciting features. 4 main ones that are worth highlighting. The new viewpoints feature absolutely is being accepted by the Sherlock community. Everybody's really liking it. Rename the areas and the new isolate functionality have been real big hits. And if you haven't been using these new features, you should. It seems to be really helping people with their workflow and BIM coordination. Moving over to Daily, over 78 bugs have been squashed. You know, a newer product, we're always, you know, facing new obstacles with that, and so we're very active in working with customers to address issues as fast as possible. Over 47 new features, lots of tiny little features, and many not so tiny features. But to highlight a couple key ones, the inclement weather reporting is a very interesting one. Inclement weather, you know, now you're able to essentially, you know, check a box on your work log just saying that particular crew was impacted by bad weather, and we have reports that reflect this. So this is pretty interesting info to people. Quantity tracking, so we're now addressing the production tracking feature set that people have been asking for. We have opened up our API. This is something else that people have been asking for. They want access to data programmatically, and even the ability to do certain functions within on FlyPaper via some scripting capabilities. We started to open that up, and there is some functionality there. It's pretty well documented and gaining usage. So be sure to check that out. Another thing worth mentioning with Daily is just the documentation has continued to increase. We mentioned this last year that we had started a real effort to really continue to expand and develop our documentation and making it easy to use. And we really feel like we've done that. Definitely looking forward for more feedback, more suggestions for tutorials and things like this. And finally, PlanScan. It's the new one to the team, but we do meet regularly with our beta customers, and we've addressed a number of issues that have made it difficult for them to do their job. And now things are, moving a lot smoother for them. With 32 new features just added in the last year, again, just really improving the experience, specifically the visual experience. PlanScan is very much a physical first software, and when we definitely feel that is our niche, and that is what makes PlanScan very special. But the visual performance and the visual interface is also crucial for a number of members in the audience, and really have worked to make that a more fluid experience. And with that update, I'm going to hand it back over to you, Nick.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for sharing all those stats. So this next section, we're going to talk about where FlyPaper is going. We get asked this every once in a while, so I figured we'd throw a section in here for it. And where are we going? The way we see it is we're going to the field. So what does that mean? That means that we are creating products to set the field up for success. So with our Sherlock product, we are helping with the pre-building portion of BIM coordination, pre-creating that 3D model of the building, so that you can work through all of those issues before those issues can become field issues. With PlanScan, we fit into the pre-planning portion, where you are planning those individual activities in what order, what sequence that they're going to happen on the job, so that they happen in a way that doesn't create issues for follow-on trades or anybody else. And then with our daily application, it's a superintendent daily is there to document what happened in the field that day, right? And we see that as a very tight iterative cycle between that pre-planning PlanScan feature and that superintendent daily documentation feature. You can see that we have a couple of arrows there kind of showing that that kind of iterative cycle feedback that comes back from daily to PlanScan. And that actually represents, an actual integration that we have between those products. So if you are doing weekly work planning with PlanScan, all of that upfront effort, when you get to your superintendent daily at the end of the day, those field foremen, those superintendents, all they have to do to write their daily is check off the activities that you had already pre-planned, as long as those are the things that they actually did that day. It makes their daily very simple, very fast and efficient for themselves. And it provides instant feedback back into the planning portion of PlanScan. So the next time you have a pull planning meeting, you already know what has happened, all the work that has happened on those activities, because you are able to just look at it. And a superintendent, even from their daily, is able to check a box that says, hey, we are done with this activity, so that we can say, yes, we completed this activity on this day. That way you don't have to spend, the first half of your update session in pull planning on, okay, what actually happened? What actually got done? So We also see that there is a connection between Sherlock and PlanScan. Right now, there's an arrow pointing there. That is essentially it doesn't actually represent an actual integration at this point. It's more of a mental kind of connection between those two things. But we do see that in the future that we would be able to create an actual integration between those things. So there is a lot of time spent during the BIM coordination process, kind of building up the knowledge of that building, understanding how it's going to fit together. And there's a lot of times once BIM coordination is done, that knowledge stays with the BIM coordinators and the detailers. It never really makes it to the field. So we think that, during that pre-planning process that PlanScan represents, there is an opportunity to surface some of that knowledge from the detailing team to the planning, superintendents and field foremen that are doing that pre-planning work in the pole planning. So we don't have a current integration to do that or a way to gather that knowledge in an easy way. So we think that there's going to be a powerful integration, though, between those two things. If we're able to harness all of that knowledge that is created during the BIM coordination process and give it to the field foremen and the superintendents during their planning of their actual day-to-day activities, we think that there's some really good improvements and efficiency gains that we can provide a field team by doing that. So with that, I just will leave this "Where is FlyPaper going?" section with our original slogan. That was the first one that we ever had for FlyPaper. I believe it's still on the website, and that's "Let's get back to building." With everything that we do, we try to create software that lets you get back to building. We try to make our software as easy to use and and make it so that it seamlessly fits into your workflow, so that you aren't, stuck doing data entry. That's the thing that we don't want you to be doing, is just thinking of our products as data entry type of products. We want you to be able to get the insights that you need out of the features and take those insights to the field so that you are able to execute the actual building of your job, of your projects in the most efficient manner. So with that, kind of takes us close to the end of this, the update section of our summit. Just want to do a quick plug here for if you want to see us in person this year. We are finally back in person in conferences. So we were still at virtual conferences last year, but if you want to see us in person, you're going to have to come to New Orleans, because that is the only place conferences apparently are this year. So we used to go to Las Vegas all the time, but now we are going to go to New Orleans at least twice this year. We may throw a third one in there. We'll keep everybody up to date if we do. But we will be there in September from the 27th through the 29th for Autodesk University. We'll have a booth there, and we'll also have a booth at the Lean Congress for the Lean Construction Institute, and that will be in October from the 18th through the 21st. So come hang out with us in New Orleans. If you are going to come to one of those conferences, hit us up beforehand. If you want to have a meeting or grab a drink or some lunch or something, hit us up. We always want to talk to our customers, and otherwise you can come and walk by our booth and we can chat there too. So what's next in our summit? We have 2 more sessions. We will jump into a Sherlock session after this, where we'll talk about what's new, the Procore integration that we're really excited about, that we're going to be working on, our roadmap, and do a Q&A. and then we'll move on to the FlyPaper Platform session, which that'll include all the updates about Plan Scan and Daily. So looking at the time, I guess, you know what, we're pretty much right on time. So we're not going to take a brief break here. We'll take a break right after the Sherlock one, and we're going to just roll right into this into the Sherlock presentation, I think. So for Sherlock, we are going to talk about what's new. I'm just going to go through the agenda because I just said it, essentially. So what's new with Sherlock? Over the last year, we've done the standard update, which is, we've created the Navisworks 2023 version of Sherlock. If you have not downloaded that yet, it is available on our website. If you just go to flypaper.com and you can search for Sherlock download links, it'll show up there for you. Just for everybody's general knowledge, we try to get the as within a week of Navisworks updating to the new year, we try to get our Sherlock version also out there and available to you for download on our website. So if you have been waiting around to not update to Navisworks 2023 because you didn't know if Sherlock was available or not, well, you can update. So just go on our website and download it there. And then, Dan kind of hit on these a little bit earlier. We had 4 kind of main features that we released over the last year in Sherlock. The new areas feature, so that you can create those custom areas in your model. The new rename feature for bulk renaming on clashes. The new isolate feature, which is kind of a new way to view your clashes, or really any model items with section boxes that actually work in Navisworks. And then our new viewpoints feature, which you can actually use to produce useful viewpoints of your clashes. So you know what? I'll do a little bit of diving into some of those new features. So with our rename feature, it's really for use of bulk kind of tagging clashes with any extra information that you might think of. Some of the use cases that we created rename for were, if you are a person that puts people's names in the name of the clash that you want them to work on, there was no way to do that in bulk before. So now you do have a way to do that. You can multi-select any clashes that you want in the Clash Detective, click on rename, and you have the ability to add any information, a person's name, or a type of clash. If you wanted to kind of categorize some of these clashes or anything like that, you have the ability to add that information to the beginning or the end of that clash name. Another good use case for this is with areas. If you add areas to your model after you have already created all of your clash groups, then you previously were unable to really get that area name into those existing clash groups without exploding those clash groups and redistilling them. So now if you add some areas after you've already got clash groups, you can now just highlight all those clash groups that are existing. You can click on rename and you can choose any of those tags that are kind of available to you in the distilled group name template for use here. So you can add that kind of area name right into all of the clash groups that exist all at once if you want to. The last thing you can do with that is maybe you've got a lot of clashes that have a lot of information in the names and you really just want to start fresh. Well, you can literally delete all of the clash name and start fresh and, change up your naming convention if you want to do that. So that is an option available to you as well. Speaking of the areas feature, that feature is, if you haven't used it yet, it is the ability for you to draw custom areas right in the model. So you can kind of see here, it's in a plan view. You can see I've drawn some very arbitrary phase 1, phase 2 areas on this model here. And then you are able to update your distilled group name template to include the area right into the name of your clash group. So from now on, now that I've created those 2 areas called phase 1 and phase 2, when I create new clash groups with Distill, you will see those words phase 1 and phase 2 right in the clash group name. It's really useful for focusing your team's attention on specific clashes. So, phases is one example of using this. Another example is maybe you want to focus on all the clash groups within a mechanical room. So you could just draw, a nice outline around your mechanical room, name it that way. Now that word mechanical, or those words mechanical room, will be in that clash group name for you. Another thing that people have used it for that we've heard is that, maybe you want to just always know about the clashes that are near riser takeoffs, because you don't want to have those change. So you can, highlight an area around a riser where a riser comes out. And now all of those clashes that are near there will be tagged as riser or something like that. The isolate feature that we recently came out with, that one was also came from our customers. One of our customers had was inquired, reached out to us and asked us about possibly making section boxing better. So we all know that using the section box of Navisworks is kind of a pain. So we created the new isolate feature, which allows you to isolate your clashes. So it kind of becomes a new version of dim other or hide other. So with hide other, you're able to just, focus on just the things that are clashing, but you kind of lose the context of everything else that's around that area. With dim other, kind of the same thing. It's hard to see everything else. That's kind of the purpose of those. But with isolate, now if you activate it and then you go and you click on a clash, you will see this kind of view here. This view shows you a section box around that clash. And what that does is allow you to see the clash. It's very visible. And then you are still able to kind of see everything else that's going on in that area. So it's a really useful way of viewing a clash that way. So you can kind of click through all of your clashes and it will jump to each new clash. And it will change the section box to just be section box around the active clash as well. So it's very similar to your usage of dim other or hide other in that way. When you're in this view, you are able to kind of grab on those green, red, and blue triangles. We call them handles, and you can adjust the section box by just clicking and dragging. It's very simple to use. And you know what? You can also use that tool without a clash if you want to. So you can right-click on any model item in a model, and you can choose to isolate around it. So you can choose things like a wall, something like that. If you can isolate around a wall, and it's actually kind of an interesting view because you can see all the penetrations through that wall really quickly. So you can kind of, with all of our features, we try to make them generic enough that you can kind of come up with your own uses and fit them into your workflow however you want to. So we're excited to see what other things that people start using isolate for that maybe we hadn't even thought of. And then the last one is our most recent one, which is viewpoints. Viewpoints allows you to produce viewpoints that actually tell a story rather than just a camera position. So with the existing viewpoints feature of Navisworks, when you created viewpoints and chose to create a viewpoint per clash group, it produces you a folder, and then it makes a folder for every single clash, and it puts a single viewpoint inside of every one of those folders. One, that's very hard to go through. You have to actually click into every single one of those folders just to even look at anything. And two, you lose a lot of the information that you had in the Clash Detective. Because if somebody's using those viewpoints, they don't really have the assignment information or anything like that. So what we've done is made this viewpoints feature that allows you to folder your viewpoints by a top level folder and then a subfolder. So you have choices of what you want to kind of group or folder those viewpoints by. You can do it by test, by assignment, or by status. or by none if you don't want folders at all. And then you can choose a subgrouping of test, assignment, or status as well. So if say you choose group by test and then by assignment, you will end up with a folder for the clash test, and then within that you'll end up with folders for all of the different assignments that you've done within that clash test. So it'll end up, if there's some assigned to me, there would be a Nick folder. There'd be my clashes within that folder. There'd be another folder for, say, if we had assigned some to Dan, there'd be a folder for Dan. His clashes would be right in there. And then there would be a folder of unassigned if there was any that were unassigned right now. The other things that you can do with viewpoints is you can not only just produce that 3D view that comes from the clash detective, but you can also produce, orient, and isolate viewpoints as well. So you can really give that person that's using these viewpoints the full picture of what that clash is. They can see that plan view, they can see that isolated view, and they can see that regular 3D view that maybe you had drawn some red lines on and saved into the clash detective. All those red lines and things like that should stay when you produce the viewpoints with the viewpoints feature. The last thing you can do is you can optionally highlight the clashing model items in red or green, which is super useful so that sometimes these 3D views, they're just a 3D view at thousands of model items, and I don't know what I'm looking at. What am I supposed to be focusing on? Which clashes, which ones of these model items are actually clashing? So that optional highlighting the models or model items that are clashing in red or green is very helpful, because those will pop out in that viewpoint for anybody that's using them. So that takes us through our what's new with Sherlock, and we're going to jump into one of our actual roadmap features that we're very excited about, and that is our pending integration with Procore coordination issues. So we actually did talk about this a little bit last year. It's been kind of a year in the making, but it's finally picked up some steam. We've been interviewing some existing Procore customers that use their coordination issues and how they want to see the clash detective kind of work with Procore issues. And I am excited here today to be able to, actually have DJ Phipps. So welcome, DJ, from Procore. And we're going to chat a little bit about where we see this Procore integration with Sherlock going, and from both of our perspectives. And yeah, it should be a great conversation. Welcome, DJ.
Nick and I have been talking about this for quite a while, done a lot of due diligence. But on the Procore side, I can tell you that we're very excited about the development of this because it's going to make our customers' process of clash management just that much more connected. And so we appreciate the opportunity, Nick, to work with you all, and we're really excited to see where it goes from here, because this is definitely something that is still an issue for those of us that have or are currently managing BIM and managing clash, that you have to go in and manually group things, or really trying to just use something, pun intended, to distill your clashes down into what they really truly are, and then maybe quickly and easily track those inside Procore to provide even more visibility. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we I was talking earlier in the presentation too about all the knowledge that is kind of created during the BIM coordination process that never really kind of makes it out of that BIM coordination process. So we're, from FlyPaper's perspective, we're really kind of excited about this integration between Navisworks and Procore and Sherlock and Procore, so that we're able to at least somewhat facilitate that process to kind of getting some of that information into Procore. And seeing where that can go, kind of raising those issues to observations and things like that to be able to kind of transfer some of that knowledge into the field later on. it's one of the reasons that we really are excited about this integration, and yeah, it's I think it's gonna take us to some good places, I think. But yeah, and the other thing that we really do like about it is that traditionally Sherlock has been a plugin for Navisworks. It has not been. We don't have a web interface for Sherlock. We do not have the ability for you to track issues in a more visible way. Outside of just the people that know how to use Navisworks. So this kind of collaboration between us and Procore makes a lot of sense. Let's get that visibility into the BIM coordination process, and kind of do the stuff that we do really well, which is kind of do the things that computers do really well, and we'll keep the statuses in sync between the issues in Procore and the issues that are in Navisworks, and yeah, we'll hopefully make that workflow looks like we did get a question too. It said that will the integration be able to retain comments made in Procore that can be seen/reviewed in Navisworks? DJ, is there? So I know you guys already have kind of an integration or a plugin for Navisworks. Do you see those kind of comments on issues in that plugin?
We actually have an activity feed associated with each issue, so it's not the comments tool inside Navisworks. We actually have an activity feed for each issue within our plugin. The intention would be is when you using FlyPaper to find your clashes or group your clashes, and then moving those into Procore as an issue. Once they become an issue in Procore, that issue retains kind of camera location, what the camera's looking at, things like that. But then with that, it becomes a trackable issue, and then each issue has an activity feed. So instead of using the comments tool inside Navisworks, you're actually using the activity feed or the comments tool inside Procore. And so the advantage to that would be is then everybody has visibility into that activity feed. And because this goes into Procore on the web and on mobile, it's also more visible to others. So they don't have to actually be in Navisworks and looking and using the plugin. They can actually see the same activity feed via the web or on mobile. So it's that kind of, this is where, again, as to double down on Nick said, this is the excitement is there are things that we can do well, and there are things that FlyPaper do really well. But when we're kind of putting these two together, it really kind of makes a very kind of a much better holistic solution of, finding those issues, then putting them in Procore, then using Procore to kind of track those issues, and then using that to, kind of being able to kind of push things back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're really good with our features and things to be able to kind of raise up those and find those issues, the ones that really do need to be tracked as, actual issues inside of Procore. So that's where we shine, and then you guys shine in the actual tracking and making sure that keeping people on track and getting the reporting and all that kind of stuff out of Procore. So I think it's gonna make a lot of sense for both of us.
Yeah, because the coordination issues tool in Procore has connectivity to the RFI tool, so you can take coordination issues and elevate those to an RFI. And you can also take coordination issues and move those to observations, which is a good workflow for items designated be field coordinated. So that to be able to connect what FlyPaper does into a platform like Procore for construction management and project management is what's just really, it's just fantastic. I wish this was around when I was still doing coordination, and this was had the means there, because we're excited about where it's just starting this. And then the potential is, I feel like, is going to grow even more as we make improvements on our side, as Nick and the team make some improvements on their side. This is pretty soon. I would hope that people would be like, well, how do we even do this without FlyPaper and Procore?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Love it. So like I said earlier, we have been actively interviewing Navisworks users that also use Procore and use Procore issues. So if you are someone like that and you want to, reach out to us and kind of get involved in that process, we are currently crafting this integration. So this is the time to get a lot of that feedback in. So if you want to reach out to us at support@flypaper.com, we'll get you included in some of those conversations.
There was another question in there, Nick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So, is it for us? I'm sorry. Is it when you say from a Procore perspective, are you talking about the FlyPaper integration, or are you talking about the coordination issues tool? So I have to give them a chance to respond. Both. Okay, so FlyPaper will be purchased directly through FlyPaper, as because not everybody who's going to use FlyPaper is potentially a Procore customer. And that goes the other way too. We have Procore customers that are not FlyPaper customers. Hopefully those will come over in droves. That's my hope for the team here. But coordination issues and the BIM viewer, or the model viewer, are two separate modules currently in Procore, so they can be purchased separately. However, when purchased together, they do have a very close relationship. So things that are created as coordination issues in that Navis model or from mobile will keep that information in the mobile viewer as well. So they are kind of connected, but the FlyPaper is not something that will be done through Procore. That is something that you will reach out to Nick and to Andrew about. But that's where we want to talk about some of these things, right? Because we don't have honestly kind of the bandwidth currently to really kind of help build this kind of connection. So why rebuild the wheel when FlyPaper already has it? The interface is nice, the interface is clean, it's very simple. Now looking to kind of build the bridge to kind of connect the two and make it that much easier. So we'll have more. We talked about it. We're talking about the connection, and as we continue to kind of work through this, they will we'll continue to kind of overall look at the workflows and things like that. So that's where I would say, if you want to be a part of it and you're a Procore customer, or you're not a Procore customer, preferably a good Procore customer. And then if you don't have coordination issues, we can definitely talk about that. But then so that we can help kind of validate the flow, like what should move back and forth and how it should move back and forth.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And from, on the Sherlock side of things, we have a very simple pricing model with Sherlock. You buy it and you get access to all the features. So this will be the same thing. So if you have Sherlock, one day when the integration is done, it will just show up in your auto updates. So it'll just be an additional feature of Sherlock built right into that FlyPaper Sherlock tab inside of Navisworks for you. All right. I got any other questions for DJ while he's on the line? Let's see if anybody else has anything. All right. Well, you know how to get a hold of us if you come up with any other questions about the Procore integration, and if you want to help craft the integration, then get in touch and we'll get you included in that. So thanks, DJ, for joining.
Welcome.
All right.
Bow out, and you're going to keep going then?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. If there's any other questions, reach out to the Nick and the team here. They can get some of those things over to me. But Nick, thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thanks, DJ.
Okay. Have a great day.
All right. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about the overall roadmap for Sherlock as it looks for the next year as well. So it's kind of split up into three different sections. We have the reporting features that we want to work on. We have the integrations part, which we just talked about, the Procore integration with their issues tracker. And then we have some core updates to the existing features that already exist. So One that we talked about last year, we didn't get around to it, unfortunately, is we are going to be working on some clash burn down charts for you. And that's just the ability for us to, whenever you want, for you to status the model, kind of save off or store the totals of all of your clashes across all your clash tests and which models they're a part of. And all of that kind of information will be saved into a database. And then you'll be able to produce any of these types of burn down charts, and you'll be able to filter them by trade, by clash test, by model, things like that, so that you can kind of track your progress as you're going throughout coordination. You know, that's one of the things that we've always touted with especially with the distill portion of Sherlock, is that if you use distill to group your clashes, the way it groups is it makes a group for a thing to be fixed. And the reason for that is so that those group numbers can mean things to you. It can actually mean this is how many things that need to be fixed in your model. So then, you know, reports like this can actually mean something to you, because previously, if you were just doing, you know, total clashes without grouping it in that way, you'll see wild fluctuations in the number of clashes throughout coordination, because as things get populated, or, you know, you clear one clash that really, you know, one issue that cleared, you know, 1,000 clashes because it was, you know, a bank of conduit going through something. It doesn't mean that you really made that much progress. It just means that you cleared those thousands of clashes, and that doesn't really mean anything. So with the combination of distill and then this reporting tool, you'll actually be able to get a really good sense of how far are we, how much further do we need to go, and will we achieve, you know, sign off in the right amount of time. So we're looking forward to building that out a little bit. And staying on the reporting side of things, we are working on 2 different PDF type reports. One request that we've had as soon as we made the viewpoints feature is, can I get these viewpoints as a PDF? So for anybody that does that same workflow, we're going to allow that workflow as well. And then the other one is we're going to have the ability for you to not only just export Excel dumps of that clash burn down feature, but also for you to be able to get a PDF report out of Navisworks, so it won't just live inside Navisworks. We just talked about the Procore integration, so that's going to be the ability for you to upload clashes and link clashes directly into Procore's clash issue tracker. And it will keep those statuses in sync, you know, if you want them to. So if you approve stuff in Navisworks, it gets approved inside of Procore, things like that. And you'll be able to either probably wholesale send all the clashes into Procore issues if you want to work that way. But the real workflow that we see there is that, you know, the big issues, the things that need to get elevated to RFIs, the things that need to get elevated into observations, those are the types of things that you'll be kind of picking and choosing and to send from the Clash Detective and Navisworks and into Procore. And then going back to the kind of the core updates, we have a few improvements that we want to do to the areas feature. One is so that we're going to enable the ability for you to create areas without assigning them to a grid system. So right now you have to choose a grid system so that we can know the level elevations for you. And we want to get rid of that requirement. We want to make it so that regardless of what your active grid system is, you can draw areas and you can assign them to you know, specific elevation numbers rather than levels and things like that. We're also going to update the interface to areas a little bit, make it a little more intuitive. The biggest complaint we get with areas is that filter button to kind of filter which areas are shown on the screen, that is kind of confusing to people. Sometimes people will draw areas and then they won't show up because the filtering is actually filtering them out because that area doesn't apply to that level. So we want to make that a more intuitive interface. And then the last thing we want to do with areas is we want to make it so that you are able to edit the name of an area and have that name change propagate to the existing clashes. So say you named an area something and you realized that you wanted to change the name because you want it to better reflect, some other phase naming or something like that you're using somewhere else on the project. If you edit the area name right now, you can do that, but it will do nothing to your existing clashes. So those existing clashes will still be named with the old name. So we want to make it so that those new name changes will propagate to those existing clashes. And then with the new viewpoints feature, I talked about it a little bit earlier, we want to add a dim other option so that viewpoints can be dimmed, similar to how the Clash Detective does. So that you can, right now we allow you to highlight those items in red and green in those saved viewpoints, but in this way, it will dim or kind of gray out, not the transparent dimming, but just the kind of the graying of all of the other items that are not clashing in that viewpoint, and then leave the color alone on the clashes or the model items that are actually clashing in that area. So you'll be able to kind of get that dim other option right into your saved viewpoints as well. And then the other thing that we will be doing is we will be adding an optional highlight all viewpoint for each one of the viewpoint folders that you're created. So with the viewpoint folders that you kind of choose within the viewpoint feature, you can choose that top level folder, say it's by test, and then you might have subfolders by assignment or something like that. What this feature will do is right at the top in that top level folder, so say it's a clash test of steel versus mechanical pipe, there will be a viewpoint that will be dimmed. All the model items that are not clashing in that entire test will be dimmed. And then all the model items that are clashing in that test will be highlighted. So it's very similar to kind of like the highlight all within a clash test. But then also in that subfolder, so if you did a subfolder by assignment, there will be a viewpoint within that subfolder where everything that is clashing in those assignments. So if for all the clashes that are assigned to, say, myself, saying there's a Nick folder there, all the clashes that are assigned to me, there'll be a single viewpoint where you can kind of see everything dimmed, and all of those clashes that are assigned to me will be highlighted in that saved viewpoint as well. So that's been something that was requested of us as well. All right, and then let's keep going on to the other two core updates that we'll be doing is in Distill, we will be adding the ability for you to use room names right in the clash group name. So that's those kind of room names that can come from Revit. If you want to insert that information directly into the clash group that gets created, you can do that. And then with heat map, we want to be able to create a heat map for a selected level. So a lot of times people will have multi-level models that don't have their clash tests separated by level, because you can just do a single clash test for the entire model and then just kind of filter out your visible clashes that way. So in those cases, people have asked for us to make it so that heat map is able to just create a heat map for a specific level. So say you're working on level 1 and you want just the clashes that are on level 1 to be included in that heat map. That's what we're going to be adding to heat map. And we said this last year, also did not get around to it, so I'm just going to say it again. We will be providing better enterprise visibility and management. So we'll be slowly getting away from license keys, and we'll be having people kind of log in via the Navisworks interface. And that will enable us to provide better admin visibility for the people that administer your licenses within your company. They'll be able to assign access to license pools, and they'll be able to see kind of real-time, near real-time usage, just kind of seeing, all right, we have three seats of Sherlock. Do we need more? Do we need less? Giving that kind of information to those admins. It's been something that's been asked of us from some of the larger companies a lot. So we do plan on doing that as well. So that kind of takes us through the roadmap for Sherlock. And we have now reached a Q&A session. And I know that we have already kind of done some kind of impromptu Q&A in here, but if anybody has any other questions that they want answered about Sherlock, feel free to use the in-call messages kind of portion of Google Meet and let us know.
And we already do have one high quality suggestion of calling the reporting feature Watson, which I very much support.
Well, the interesting thing about that is that when Sherlock was first created, it was called Watson. We ended up changing the name because we didn't want the confusion that was around the same time where IBM's AI Watson was coming out, and we didn't want any confusion in there between that, because a lot of people had heard of that and not a lot of people had heard about us. So I didn't want to be having that conversation over and over again. But yeah, maybe it's time to bring back the name into the reporting feature. That might make some sense.
And besides that, we do have a few other questions here. Like Nick said, feel free to drop any other ones you got in the chat, which you can get to in the bottom right-hand corner, just like a little text message icon, it looks like. But
yeah, hey, Andrew, before you go on to that, we put this on the slide, but I've never actually mentioned it to anybody. If you do ask a question, we will write down your name, and then we will put your name into a drawing to win some AirPod Pros that are branded with FlyPaper Technologies on them. So that's a photo of one. So if you've got a question and you want to win some AirPod Pros, throw it in the chat.
Oh yeah, we'll have a recording of the whole summit available afterward. It'll be sent out to everyone's emails. So yeah, you can watch it yourself if you missed part of it, or if you need to share with someone else in your team. It'll all be in your inboxes the next few days.
Yep.
But yeah, the question we had is, I'd like to get some training on the newer features of Sherlock. Where or who should I contact?
Gotcha. Yeah, if you can reach out to myself or Andrew, if you have our contact information. Otherwise, just send it to support@flypaper.com, and we will get to you, or we'll get back to you right away. The way we do the training and support like that is that we'll send you a calendar link that kind of has all of the availability that we have. You can schedule as a time that works for you and your team, and then we'll be able to we'll link up on a Google Meet. It's very similar to this, and we'll take you through the new products and have a kind of one-on-one Q&A session.
Oh, and also to be clear, it's zero cost to you guys. You can just sign up and do it. It's bundled in with Sherlock. Yeah,
however many times you need training within your company, or just want to chat about features or anything like that, obviously we don't have any like extra costs or anything like that. That's the point of the subscription. So use it.
Okay, and then looks like we got another question is, will there be a way in the future to export viewpoints that retain the highlight/drawings done within the Clash Detective?
Yes. So exporting them, I guess one question I have for Charlie is exporting them to just save viewpoints. Is that what you're referring to? Because we do in the viewpoints feature, it is able to export all of those clash viewpoints along with plan views and isolate views, and those do maintain the red lines or drawings or highlighting or whatever you've done to that clash in the Clash Detective in your save viewpoint. So I think we're able to do that right now, unless I'm misunderstanding the question. All right.
We'll give him a few minutes to get back if there's anything else we missed. Oh, so it looks like we have another question here. Will there ever be a possibility of using only Sherlock to create, run, and manage clashes, removing the need to touch the clash detective?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Not in our current roadmap is there the ability to kind of replace completely the clash detective. I would definitely be curious to talk to you a little bit more, Mike, maybe offline, to see what you might envision as the benefits of doing something like that. Perfect. Yeah, I'll reach out to you after the summit. Maybe we can set up a time.
Great. Then we do have one other question over here. Is if you have you know, I've got an idea for Sherlock. How should I get in contact?
Any number of ways. Right in Sherlock, there is a feedback or an ideas or a feedback button. I actually forget what we title it. It's a light bulb. So it looks like one of the other features. So you just click on that. You can send your idea right there. That'll go right into our ticket tracking system. And we'll reach out to you after that. The other ways are you can always reach out to support@flypaper.com. And yeah, that's about it. So then we'll, and once you do that, we'll always get in touch, talk to you a little bit about that feature. And yeah, either put it on our backlog or put it on our roadmap. And also we are still running I don't have a picture of one. I wish I did. If you give us an idea for Sherlock and we put it on our roadmap, we will send you a Sherlock mug, a Sherlock Feed Me Clashes mug. I don't have a picture of one right now. I wish I did, but they're pretty cool. I don't have one sitting here either. So, but yeah, if one of your ideas makes it onto our roadmap, then we will send you one of those mugs.
Hey, for anybody curious.
Oh, you're blurred though.
Oh, it's blurry though. Yeah.
Oh no, is it by my face?
There you go.
Yeah, right, Feed Me Clashes.
Yeah, it's still blurry.
Oh well.
There it goes.
It's very cool though.
Okay, perfect. I think that's all the questions we had for now. If anyone has anyone they want to squeak in right at the end here, this is your chance. But we've answered all the ones we've gotten so far.
Cool. Okay, so that takes us to a quick break, which sorry, I got confused by the slides. But anyway, our next session is going to be about the FlyPaper platform. We're going to talk about PlanScan a little bit. We're going to talk about SlatPlanner and our acquisition of SlatPlanner. And then we're going to just have some general conversation about pull planning and benefits of physical pull planning and how PlanScan and Daily work together, and talk about our roadmap, and then we'll get to our ending Q&A and some closing remarks. So we are going to take a 9-minute break, I guess, and we'll be back at 1:45, just to give everybody a brief pause here. So then we'll be back. So thank you.
Feel free to grab a cup of coffee, a nice little snack, and get back here soon.
So we're going to start with another session on the FlyPaper platform. So currently, that includes our Superintendent Daily application, Daily, and our pull planning application, PlanScan. And right now, Sherlock is not a part of that platform, but we do have ideas in the ways that we will bring Sherlock into that platform in the future. So I will leave that for another day, but for right now, we're going to talk exclusively about PlanScan and Daily. So I'm going to do a quick PlanScan refresher, and then we're going to talk with Steve Moore, the creator of SlatPlanner. And then I think, and then we'll talk about the roadmap and then do some questions and answers. So we will start with the plan scan refresher. So if you remember from last year, we talked about plan scan, which at that time was the first time we talked about it publicly. It is a pull planning application that enables a workflow where you can move activities around on a physical board and have those activities update in your in the cloud-based application as well. So you can do a virtual pull planning. You can do a virtual pull planning session, or you can do a hybrid. Some people in the room, some people not, or you can do a fully physical pull planning session and still get all of the benefit of being able to take all that data off that wall and get it into your the actual plan scan interface on the web, which allows you to do a lot of things. It allows you to update your P6 schedule with those changes. It allows you to get variance reports to see what has changed between your pull planning sessions. And it allows you to link those activities into the superintendent daily reports and kind of close that update loop. So you can get from your daily reports the updates from your entire team on which activities were worked on, which ones were finished, things like that. All of that kind of update information that you would have done a long time or during the pull planning session the next week can be done automatically because we have linked the two together. And Dan will go into a lot more detail about that later on in this session. So I have written on this slide the only digital twin pull planning software. So that sounds buzzwordy, but we find it to be true. That is what we do. Is we have a software that allows you to have a physical board, a physical representation of your schedule, do your weekly work planning or your phase planning, and then have that linked directly back into the virtual version of that schedule. So we are the only digital twin pull planning software. The other thing that I'll go over for the plan scan refresher is we'll just take a look at the LastPlanner system overview, right? So you have your shoulds, your milestone, and your phase pull planning. Both of those things can be done within plan scan. We have kind of modes or settings in there so that you can do, phase planning rather than doing, down into the nitty gritty weekly work planning. You can also do your look ahead planning and your weekly work planning right into plan scan as well. It kind of facilitates all of those 4 different things in the LastPlanner system. You can do within plan scan on a physical board or in a virtual interface. And then the last portion, the did portion, kind of defining what did you do, how long did those activities actually take, and then giving you kind of that always improving learning kind of mindset of, okay, well, things didn't go exactly according to plan, so now we can have that conversation and have a better plan for the next iteration. So that all kind of comes from our daily product, actually. So with daily, superintendent dailies are a documentation of what happened on a job site. You're already doing that on pretty much every project that you're on because almost everybody does a superintendent daily report. So we have linked in daily into this LastPlanner system so that we can take those, all that information of a superintendent or a foreman saying, we worked on this activity and this activity and this one, and these 3 are done. So they can essentially make their daily report a checklist rather than having even to write out all that information. If you're doing the planning of pre-planning of plan scan, they barely have to write anything on their daily because they can just say, yep, I worked on this, this, and this, and then just check the boxes next to those activities. It goes right on the daily report with descriptions of the activities, how many people they had, how many hours they worked on it. And right from there, they can mark an activity as being complete. So it will go right back into plan scan for your next update process. So that really kind of helps us achieve the entire LastPlanner system within PlanScan and Daily. So that's just a really quick refresher on what PlanScan can do. It links to your P6 schedule. It links to giving you 2-week look ahead reports and things like that. Constraint logs. It does all the standard stuff that a pole planning software would do, but it does it with the digital twin portion, which is being able to have a physical board in your trailer that everybody collaborates on. So that kind of brings us to SlatPlanner. So SlatPlanner is very similar in some ways. So Steve, I will welcome you to the conversation. If you want to unmute yourself. So this is Steve Moore, works at Robbins & Morton, and also was the inventor and creator of SlatPlanner. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. It's great to be here, and I'm really glad to have this announcement here that SlatPlanner has been acquired by FlyPaper, and it's going to become so much greater as part of PlanScan than what it would have been by itself.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Sharing that excitement. So SlatPlanner is owned by a company called Build4. So we acquired SlatPlanner from Build4, and we are going to absorb it into our PlanScan product. The way this came about is actually last year, our summit was the first time we really talked about PlanScan publicly. And Steve attended our summit last year. And he reached out to us the same day and said, "Hey, maybe there's some synergies here." We both seem to really value the physical aspect of doing pole planning in a room with all the stakeholders. We're kind of both going about it in slightly similar but slightly different ways, and maybe there's a way for us to kind of collaborate on that. So we've been talking for about a year now on how that could look, and it's finally done. So as of right now, SlatPlanner is now owned by FlyPaper Technologies, and it is still a fully functioning separate product. But eventually, what we are planning to do is take the features, the features we don't have from SlatPlanner, and bring them into PlanScan, and then deprecate the SlatPlanner application itself. So we'll take the existing customers and bring them onto PlanScan as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to do. Oh yeah, that's what some of the most outwardly apparent things that we will bring into PlanScan from SlatPlanner are the card wall and slat wall systems that Steve has created. Both of these systems have their own benefits over sticky notes, but we will also still support printing onto sticky notes as well, because there's some benefits that they offer as well. But yeah, I know I talked a ton there, Steve. I want you to kind of turn this into more of a conversation about kind of where you see this kind of going with us. And yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I really love being here with you, and I'll say Dan and Nick are really great to work with. I created SlatPlanner. It's been several years now ago, and didn't have the horsepower to bring it into what I feel that Nick and Dan can bring it into. With FlyPaper's reputable technology, with their abilities, they're going to be able to bring it so much higher. We've already had talks about features. We've had talks about some of the plans that FlyPaper has, and there's some brilliant ideas I had not thought of yet that they're going to bring to this as well, to create something that is much more exciting and powerful. And really glad to see this vision and dream live on. I still firmly believe in it. I still firmly believe that physical wall planning has merits that you just can't get from digital. And so it's just pretty wonderful that we've been able to marry these two products to create something that's going to really bring that vision more fully to life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if there's any, if anybody's watching this later on or is on the call now that knows about SlatPlanner or has been or is a SlatPlanner customer, just know that we're going to develop a way to get you from SlatPlanner into PlanScan and make that as easy as possible in the future. So, just want to make that clear to everybody. The one of the things you just said, Steve, and I think I've said it too, is that the physical pull planning is really the thing that makes pull planning work. A lot of these companies that do pull planning now, they're all virtual, and that works to a certain extent. The problems start happening when somebody's looking at their email in another window on their screen as you're in a virtual meeting with them, or they're not actually really thinking about the commitments that they are making on that pull planning board, because that's all what it is when a person actually stands up in front of all their peers and they say, I'm going to start this activity or I'm going to finish this activity next Monday. They're making a commitment. They're making a promise to everybody. And when you do that on a virtual screen, it just doesn't have the same weight. It
totally
just
agree with that. So I've spent. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I'm not a psychologist, but there's so many studies out there from a psychological perspective that talk about when people are together and they make confirmations, make commitments in front of each other, it makes people more compelled to follow through with those commitments or make really actual commitments that they feel like they can fulfill.
It's true. And I
it
see
is true.
That transition from the scheduler's plan to their plan, once they put their hands on it. I've spent the last 10 plus years as a project controls manager. I've built anything from power plants to paper mills to hospitals, and I've just been fully enveloped in planning and scheduling with large teams. And when I created SlatPlanner, my biggest aims, I started from that one objective of how do I get people to be able to schedule something? Because right now, like the scheduling software like P6 or Project or other tools that are used are so complex. They take big, long training sessions to learn. I used to teach a week-long class on how to use P6 4 times a year. It's just a really convoluting and intimidating process. And so by the time it gets to the people that are actually doing the work, they look at the schedule and say, sure, the scheduler built this plan. It's not mine. I'll just do what I do. They do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing is I wanted them to be able to participate fully, to be able to get their hands into it, to make it as dead simple as possible. And that was what I kept iterating over and over again. It's like, how do I make it so simple that anyone can just use it without being trained on it? And it all came down to just physical wall planning. I mean, that's the most intuitive interface in the world, is your own hands, and just be able to grab your hands and put things on the wall and move them around. And that really, it's amazing how much more engaging it is. You don't have people sitting back in their seats, like you said, just doing whatever. They're up there on the wall. You get people that normally don't participate in planning meetings, all of a sudden becoming some of the main voices in those meetings and moving things around. And once they hold it's theirs.
You have to be engaged when you're sitting with a group of people like that. And, we've, spoken, and Nick might build on this a little bit, but we've spoken with other people who have worked with some other virtual softwares. And it's interesting, after a number of conversations, all the cool features that these virtual softwares have, and they do, and they're good for what they do. But so many people end up doing a physical process anyway and sort of just manually putting it all back into that virtual software. We heard that a lot. That was a real surprise. Also heard from a number of the same people, they said, in the end, the physical really is the best type of pull planning, even though they were using other virtual softwares.
If you really ask a superintendent, they really do have a separate plan that they have hidden somewhere that they've scratched out on a piece of paper or Excel spreadsheet or whatever. Just puts it out in the open where we're all collaborating together on it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the hidden schedule is a common theme. There is always those superintendents that you've got your P6 schedule, but I don't care. I'm gonna do my own scheduling somewhere else, right? And that's what we want to work with. Is we want to get that schedule out in the open so that everybody knows where it is. So there's no no, at the end of the day, we aren't like, well, wait, how are we a month behind? That's the whole point behind all this, is
Instead
so
of
that we know
forcing all these end users to use a really complex piece of software, we're bringing it to them, putting it in their terms, putting it in something that's really friendly, and it makes total sense. That's the biggest thing I've been finding in the construction industry, is we all want more ease of use, intuitive, flexibility, and this brings precisely that.
Yep. Yeah, and that's
and the shortest learning curve.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And that's something that, us at FlyPaper, that is what we do. That's what we did with Sherlock, is we made it as intuitive as possible. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've done trainings or demos with Sherlock, and I have no questions at the end of it, because people just understand how to do it. And that's what we wanted to bring to this as well.
One more big thing I noticed is when I first came into Robbins & Morton, that was my first exposure to lean construction. And I saw just everything covering the walls and all this visual management. And I noticed it was really successful. It was working really well. And so when you finish a plan with PlanScan or SlatPlanner, you walk away and it's sitting on the wall where everyone can see it, where it's always there, where it's always accessible. You don't have to go log
you can walk away for a little while, think about it, and then come back, which I find myself doing, not necessarily in pole planning sessions, but just in general. I think that's another piece of human nature. We like to step away and think about it and then come back and look at something stationary.
And every day when you're meeting in that room, all you do is just glance over at the wall. It's like, think of it as a 200-inch touchscreen on your wall, just there on all the time.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, if it was all just about physical, then everybody would just use sticky notes and do the last planner system with sticky notes, right? But the stuff that we want to bring, with PlanScan, is that we want to be able, or what we do with it is, you can now take that wall, get it into PlanScan very quickly, and then you can run all those reports that other people are interested in. Maybe not the superintendents are interested in, or the foreman and things like that, but all of the the variance reports for, like, where are these activities headed? Have they changed since last time we met? The PPC logs, the constraint logs, for being able to see all of your constraints in one place. All that kind of stuff.
I've seen people
stuff that the project teams and the owners are interested in looking at.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen people try to manage those metrics by hand. I remember seeing some of our walls initially. They had like dry erase markers, and they'd calculate in PPC or draw little lines and or keep track of the reasons for variance, constraints, and all those things. And this literally just brings the best parts of both worlds together. The best parts of digital are the automation, the reporting, the ability to share digitally with tons of people, all the history tracking and all that. But then also the really easy, simple interface to physical. So you just grab the best of both parts and combine them. And now you have PlanScan.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm really excited to get your other physical mediums of these boards into PlanScan too. The card wall system especially too. I'm very, very interested in getting that in there quickly, so that we can support that. It's a very cool system of you being able to print your activities onto just regular paper, have it cut out into business card size with just a very cheap Amazon product, and then you're able to just snap in these cards right into the plastic extrusions. Spent a lot of time on.
Yeah, it took a few years of development to get to that, to just iterate and iterate. You wouldn't believe all the prototypes I've got in my garage leading up to that, the different 3D printed samples and pieces to arrive at that perfect, simple, crisp, clean shape that makes it just dead simple. And I kept trying to go up with like different label printers and all these different devices. I kept getting more and more complex with more digital tools, or more machines and things like that, and got it all the way back down to paper. A lot of people just print things on a regular paper. You don't have to keep all these different colored sticky notes. You just use the ink in your printer and make it snap into that card wall system. I could go off on that for a long time. I mean, paper does not fall out of there, but it's just perfect and easy and simple to use.
Yeah, we're very excited about that card wall system.
Yep. So we will support the card wall system. The sticky wall is what we're calling the sticky notes, and the slat wall. So now we kind of have a unified naming convention across all three of those. But yeah, we're going to support all three of them. They have their benefits and their pros and their cons, and those are all on our website as well, so that everybody is able to kind of make their own decision on which medium they want for their physical board. But yeah. Like we've been saying, I mean, this is what we really believe, that physical pull planning is the thing. It increases your collaboration. It increases the buy-in from all of the stakeholders, whether they can use computers well or not. They don't have to, right? So we really see PlanScan filling a need in the pull planning market that nobody else is doing. There's a lot of other pull planning products, especially ones that have come out in the past couple years, but not a single one is addressing the actual usability of doing a pull planning session. So we're very excited about it. We're excited to release it publicly for use in October at the LCI conference. So plug that again. If you want to see us there and you want to maybe grab some sticky notes or some card wall cards and actually move some activities around on a wall, come and see us at our booth at LCI, the Lean Congress conference in October. Yeah, with that, I think we're gonna move on to how Daily kind of fits into PlanScan. Thank you, Steve, for joining us for that. We're looking forward to keeping on working with you as we kind of navigate, bringing SlatPlanner into the FlyPaper Technologies family of applications. But thanks for being a part of this.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, Dan, it's off to you.
Cool. So let's expand on this, closing the broken feedback loop with Daily. We spent a lot of time talking about Nick did, just talking about how we see the future of the FlyPaper tools. And we're going to spend a little bit of time just kind of talking about how PlanScan and Daily work well with each other. Right, so here's an illustration just kind of breaking down what we've been talking about and kind of hand waving a little bit. So the feedback loop. So, from the beginning, you're going to create your activities inside of PlanScan. You're going to do that manually. You're going to import them from P6 or an Excel file, a number of different ways. You have the ability to then print to whatever wall system, we're calling them, you want to use, so your slat walls, your card wall, your sticky wall. You're then able, once you've got everything picked, printed out, and you've got your pull planning room or your planning room, you're able to actually have your pull planning sessions. You're able to collaborate with your peers, able to get that buy-in from individuals on what they're supposed to do, how everything's supposed to relate to each other's activities. And then, from right there, you have an option to generate some reports to kind of get especially a look ahead report could be useful at this point, just kind of like getting an idea of what's in the future. But really, now that you're, let's say, you've done your weekly planning and now you're actually doing the work. And this is where Daily really comes in, because Daily is able to capture what you actually did, specifically what you did. And it actually, not only are you just kind of filling out regular dailies, filling out your descriptions, your crew size and all that stuff, but you're actually able to associate the activities that were created in PlanScan directly into your work log. We have a simple illustration here to kind of show you what we're talking about. Let's say you're like just in FlyPaper Daily and you're creating a work log. You'll see that if you are using PlanScan as well, you do have the ability to click on an Add Activities button, which will then present you with a list of all the activities that have been assigned to that particular, to your particular company. So you can just click on activities and be like, yes, we did this today, we did this today, and we did this today. And what ends up happening is that information ends up going back into PlanScan. So that, for instance, next week, or later on that week, when you go back to a pull planning session, you're able to actually see right there in the application exactly what was done and how it has affected your plan. Nick, do you want to build on that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, yeah, like you were saying, this view here is just of a superintendent using daily. So we kind of surface those activities directly into daily for you. So that superintendent can just, check the box on the activities that his crews have worked on. And they don't even have to write a description into their work log then if they don't want to, because the description's right there. It's the activity names. It's all the, those activities already have areas associated with them. They have the names associated with them. They already have, all that information. So all the superintendent really has to do to make their daily is say, yeah, I worked on these 3 activities. And if some of them are done, then they can just say, yep, we finished that today. And that makes their daily so simple.
Yeah, because all that work, everybody hates filling out their daily. Even a simple description, it's just taking that time to write it all out is cumbersome when you're someone in the field actually out there having to do the job. And a lot of that work is done in PlanScan.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that stuff is done during the planning sessions. People, the foreman, the leadership have taken the time to like articulate all those details and break them up into activities. So now when you're on the field, even with your iPhone or your iPad, you can be like, yep, create a work log. Yep, this is how many people, and this activity, this one, with all the details filled out, and you're done.
Yep. It's really a good way to, for us to also drive the buy-in for doing poll planning and doing all that upfront work from those, because the same people that are filling out dailies are the same people that you want in your poll planning sessions actually planning the work. So if they see that, hey, okay, if I do these weekly poll planning sessions, then I basically never have to write a daily again in my life, then that's a huge benefit, right? So that will drive people to wanting to do the poll planning up front, because then they don't have to, at the end of the day, when everybody goes home, they don't have to sit there for 30 minutes or whatever writing out, okay, we did this and this and this, and all that information that needs to go into a daily, or they forget to write their daily for a week, and then they
honestly yeah, one thing that you're saying right now, we've actually never really talked about that fact, but this actually encourages people to update their daily throughout the day as the day is progressing, which is something that we've always really wanted in our platform. The ability for people to jump in at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and actually see perhaps what's been done, or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. What happens is, like what Nick was saying, most people typically will fill out their dailies near the end of the day. Totally okay, totally fine. But one thing that's cool about the way the software is architected currently is, everybody has visibility into what's going on right now. If I open up my daily, I go to my project, I can see what's going on at any time. I can even generate a report at any time of the day of what has happened up until this moment in time. I think this ease of use and the ability for people to just kind of click buttons as they go, it might help encourage them to do it as they go along, instead of waiting to the end of the day, which can lead to what you just talked about, not doing it that day and end up doing it at the end of the week.
Yep, for sure. Yeah. And then the thing that I really like about it is that, we have a hard enough time getting new people that have never done poll planning before or participated in the last planner system, getting their buy-in in the first place. And if we can give them, this type of benefit of just, you will do less work on your daily at the end of the day, then, getting that person to participate in the last planner system is going to be that much easier. So, yeah, I think this integration between PlanScan and daily and all of that is going to work. It's going to work very well, and I think it's going to help drive more lean practices throughout the industry. So,
awesome. With that, should we move on to talk more roadmap about the platform?
Yeah, take it away.
Okay. So yeah, There we go. There we go. So we spent a lot of time talking about PlanScan and SlatPlanner. We're about to, actually, Nick will probably jump in and spend just a little more time talking about it. And then we'll talk about Daily and just the platform as a whole, you know, our cloud platform. So Nick, go ahead if you want to kick off the PlanScan portion.
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple things that we know that we want to do with PlanScan. There's a lot of things that we know that we want to do with PlanScan, but these are some of the I guess more top of mind ones. One is we want to add a manpower commitments view. So right now there's no easy way. There is ways to access a report or a view that shows you how much manpower each contractor is committing, you know, for each week as you're doing your planning. So this kind of view that we want to add is mostly there just to do a gut check against your plan, because yeah, we can all stand around and place activities on a board and then say, yep, we think that that's going to be a good activity or a good plan, but sometimes you might stand back and go, oh wait, you know, XYZ contractor is saying they're going to have 45 people on site based on the activities that they just committed themselves to. And there's no way they would have that many because they have 5 right now. So it's this kind of manpower commitments view is something that we want to be able to surface to the top really quickly for a team, so that, you know, after you've done your scan of your wall, then you can see a view like this to kind of see like, okay, well now we can expect, you know, this many people from this contractor on the job site. Or have that conversation with that contractor and be like, are you really going to have 45 people here next week? Because that's what you're telling us, because that's what the plan says. So try to get that better information up to the top for you, so that you're able to make your plan better. Another view that we want to do is the variance view. Right now we don't have the variance view, so that's kind of seeing the changes from last meeting to this meeting. We have a visual way of seeing that, of seeing the 2 schedules right next to each other with kind of grayed out activities that are the same and highlighted activities that have moved. But we don't really have like a view that's showing you that this activity moved plus 2 days, or this activity moved, you know, however much it moved, so that you can kind of get that that information right up front. Because we do see the real power in that as being, you do pull planning session, you scan your board, you jump right into this variance view to say, now you can actually see a holistic, what did we just do to our schedule? And then you can have a conversation right in that pull planning session still, because it's that fast. So you can be like, well, this is actually, you know, pushed out way too far. Let's talk about how we could bring it back in a little bit, or what have you. Without everybody leaving the room and you having to do that, you know, a half an hour later. This will be done in, you know, a matter of minutes or seconds, but after you're done with your pull planning board or your pull planning session. And then another thing that we will be working on is actual live board scanning. So setting up your camera on a tripod or something like that, and just as things are moving, they get moved automatically into your on your virtual screen as well. So that's what we're calling the true digital twin. You know, right now there's kind of a lag, you know, not a very long lag, because you could scan as you're going throughout your meeting too. You don't have to scan at the end. But we want to make it so that it's as simple as possible, so that you could just, you know, stand there with a phone and have it scan the entire board at all times. And then the other one that we want to do with PlanScan is have some AR type scanning feedback. So right now it just kind of buzzes as you're scanning down and saying like successful scan, for like updating the activities. And we want to give that feedback a little bit more persistence. So it will actually put, like, as you're scanning on your video feed, you'll be able to see a check mark on each activity that it scanned successfully, and have it kind of track as you're moving the camera. So you have that more persistent feedback. So it's just some of the things that we want to do to PlanScan that we know that we're going to do in the future. I'll kick it back over to you, Dan, for Daily.
Okay. So at the top of the Daily roadmap is continuing to perfect that integration between PlanScan and Daily. You know, right now it's pretty straightforward. It's doing what we believe to be the very fundamental basic thing that you would expect an integration to have. You know, Daily itself is aware of PlanScan activities, and then when you're in PlanScan, you'll be aware of the work logs that are related to a particular activity. You know, this is part of that whole broken feedback loop, you know, solution that we've created. But there's likely more, and we definitely need to see this being used on projects. We need to get this into everybody's hands, and then we're essentially really, you know, waiting to process ideas and feedback and really just start to grow what that integration is between the two products. So very excited about that. Something that we've been really touching on this calendar year is inclement weather. So oftentimes on jobs, you know, a particular crew or the entire job site, all crews are affected by bad weather. Obviously, depending on what they're doing and depending on what time of day this inclement weather came in, can determine which crews are impacted by inclement weather. But we have added that functionality that allows you to at least you know, click on a work log and say this work log, this crew, essentially, because the work log represents a crew's work, was implemented by bad weather. And now we've made that so you can see inside of Daily, you know, something that denotes which work logs were affected by bad weather. And we've even continued to grow this feature. And now you can actually get an inclement weather report, where you can do inclement weather reports across the project. You can even select specific companies you want to get reports with, you know, data about. So this is increasingly becoming more useful to people. Something that is new to the roadmap and kind of building on this functionality is what man hours were impacted by inclement weather. So we're going to be adding a feature where when you mark a work log as having been impacted by inclement weather, you'll actually be able to say how this impacted the man hours and crew size. So the crew hours and the crew size. And so there will be reporting centered around just that subject. How was the crews themselves, both man hours and their size, impacted by bad weather? So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's something that owners ask for all the time is, you know, or if you're asking for schedule extensions based on, you know, however many days that you were impacted by weather, this will be a very simple way for you to just click a button, get a report of every single man hour that was lost to weather, to inclement weather, and have that as your backup. So,
yes. So moving over to the platform, we're going to continue our progress towards an Android version. We've been talking about that, I think, for the last 2 summits. We actually do make progress every year. The first time we couldn't, you know, we weren't even able to get our app to even run on Android. Now we can, you know, so we made a lot of progress there, but it's not quite ready for prime time. So we're going to continue to perfect our support on that platform. Continued work towards a native desktop version. It's less of a priority than Android, but it is something that has been asked, and we are also interested in the idea of there just being a native desktop app. Certainly looking for ideas about what benefits would come from that. You know, I don't know, but some people really do like having a native desktop application, and you know, we're certainly exploring having a native desktop version that would run on Mac OS and Windows. I think this is going to be a mission that we're going to continue with the platform in general for quite some time, is continued progress on documentation. Every year we do add more tutorials. We improve our platform and making it how easy it is for you to get access to those tutorials. So we made big strides this year. There's actually quite a number of useful tutorials with video clips and images to help you navigate both the web and mobile versions of the platform. So please check it out. Inside of the tutorials themselves, you are able to actually suggest other tutorials. So there is kind of a way to suggest, hey, I need to learn more about this, which hooks right into our ticket tracking system and allows us to answer your questions and then, you know, create a ticket that will eventually become a tutorial based on that feedback. We're always looking to continue to improve our third-party integrations. So currently, you know, we support integrations with Autodesk BIM 360 Build. Box, Google Cloud, and Procore Drive. Definitely looking to expand, to improve our integrations, looking to increase the types of reports and information that we are going to be publishing to those pushing to those platforms. So stay tuned. Nick, did you want to add anything to that I may have skipped over? Missed?
No, I don't think so. I think that's our whole roadmap for now.
Right on. I think that takes us to a Q&A section.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll reiterate again, since Nick mentioned this earlier, if you ask a question, you will be entered into a raffle and given the opportunity to win a pair of FlyPaper Technologies branded AirPod Pros.
Yes, you will.
So
if you got questions.
Question.
Yeah. You've already got AirPod Pros.
I know.
I can use a pair too.
I can't find mine, so maybe I need to ask a question. But yeah, if you've got any questions about anything that we've talked about so far in the summit, so it could be a Sherlock question, it could be a plan scan, it could be a daily question, what have you. Throw it in the messages.
Great. Well, we have one we can start out with, and we can answer the other ones as they trickle in.
Okay.
So first one we have up is, how can you join the PlanScan beta?
So we are not accepting any new PlanScan beta customers right now. And that is because in October, it will be publicly available. So we're not that far away from October. So we're going to just release it into the wild in October. So gotta wait till then.
I will be there soon.
Yep. But we are happy to demo it for you. If you want to, get on a meeting or something like that, or if you just want to chat some more about it, happy to do that. You can reach out to us at support@flypaper.com.
And also on the FlyPaper website, there's a PlanScan page. So just flypaper.com/PlanScan, and you can go in there to see a lot of this information and book another meeting if you want.
Yeah, there is a brand new flypaper.com/PlanScan page, or if you just go to flypaper.com, you can find it there in the menu. But that has some really good information on PlanScan, and how it works. I see Steve asked if there's going to be an additional cost to utilize PlanScan. So, yes, there will.
Steve wants those AirPods.
Yes, there will. PlanScan will be a paid product. Unsure on the pricing model yet. We know the pricing model. We don't know the price yet. But the pricing model will be pay per project. So it will be, unlimited collaborators in a project, no pay per user per month kind of things. Currently daily is free. It is still free. So as of right now, you can use daily for free. And then when PlanScan comes along, we'll give away one free project. That'll be kind of your demo project or your trial project. And any projects beyond that one free project will be paid. So.
Great. Okay. Looks like we got another one.
So it's Bruce. So he says, the question I have, unless it's been covered, is to make a view using the auto update, you need to move the view. Could you add a feature to just generate the view so they can be incorporated into your viewpoint outputs? So currently, Bruce, when you use the viewpoints feature of Sherlock, it will, even if you have not saved a viewpoint to a clash, it will save the exact same viewpoint that Navisworks would bring you to when you jump to it. So you don't necessarily have to save a viewpoint into every single clash for it to come before the viewpoints feature to be able to push it into the folders. So unless I'm misunderstanding the question a little bit, I think that you don't need to do that. Let me know if I am misunderstanding you. Bruce says he couldn't get it to work. So Bruce, we're going to need to have a meeting with you to see what's going on. We'll set a meeting up with you. All right, we got another one. Are there any development plans for a viewpoint rename feature? So would that be a feature that works similar to rename for clashes, but for multiple viewpoints? Is that what you're
Sounds like
referring
it.
to? Does sound like it.
Yes.
Okay. Curious to maybe let's set up a meeting because I'd be curious to chat a little bit about what you would want to use that feature for specifically. So we'll shoot you an email after this to set up a meeting.
Okay. Besides those questions, we also have, okay, I saw that the quantity tracking was added to daily. Could you expand more on what that does?
Sure, Dan, you want to take that?
Yeah, I mean, so entering into that subject of, production quantity tracking, you are inside of the project admin able to assign, items that you can, specify are for use in your project, different materials, different items. You're actually able to specify what unit type, is to be associated with that item. Okay, so that's project setup. But now to actually, using this in daily, when you're in daily, kind of like what you guys saw with adding an activity from PlanScan right into your work log, there will literally be an option directly beneath it if you are using quantity tracking feature, which you can turn on or off on a per project basis. That will say, did you use any quantities or did you use any items? I don't remember the exact words on this for this work. You click it, you'll be brought up with a list and you can select which particular items you want. And then you can start to add what quantity that you used on that particular work log. And then essentially in the daily itself, in the report, I should say, there will be a list of all of the items used with all of their quantities. So,
Yeah. The other thing I'll note on that too is when you're doing the setup, you are also able to add WBS numbers to any of them. So when you do your reporting out later, you're able to kind of link those to other systems that may want to know something about the quantities. So those are tracking things like this crew laid put in place 30 cubic yards of concrete or something today, or put this many board feet of formwork up, things like that. So you can do that all right and document all that stuff right inside of daily now.
Yeah. One other little thing too is kind of like building on our tagging functionality that is pretty popular within daily, your ability to tag work logs. You could also tag these items as well, which kind of gives you a way of grouping items. And in the report, you will actually see, items grouped by tag. And so that could be an interesting way of categorizing different items.
Yep.
So.
Awesome.
I see we got one more
about the question, but yeah, we just got another one. Is what is the FlyPaper staff or team most excited about on the roadmap?
Yeah, honestly, releasing PlanScan and getting the PlanScan and daily integration, all out in the wild is what I'm most excited about at this point.
Yeah.
I am very excited about this this Procore integration that we're doing with Sherlock. As DJ and I chatted about a little bit earlier on in this in this session or during the summit. I think that's going to be really powerful to be able to kind of surface issues and knowledge up into the field much more easily through that integration. So. Dan, what are you most excited about?
The SlatPlanner acquisition into PlanScan and releasing PlanScan in October. I know that's very near term, but I'm very excited about it. I mean, I guess I'm just repeating what you said. Yes, the Procore stuff it's just, these are the two hot things for us right now, I guess. It's just really hard for that not to be the two main things. The SlatPlanner acquisition and bringing that into PlanScan and being able to really take PlanScan forward and going to LCI in October. That's a first time for me ever going to that conference. That's exciting. I love that. And this Procore integration, I think, is really going to lead to big things. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Mhm.
Well, I gotta say, I'm very excited for that live update feature for Plan Scan when you can just like have a camera set up and have it all just happen.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's already slick, but that's the next level where you just like it's totally hands off. You set it up and you're done.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level.
Yes, definitely. That is absolutely something I'm also very excited about. Just from a technological standpoint, it's going to be really cool to, throwing in more buzzwords, implement, machine learning algorithms, into
Why we're
PlanScan,
here.
making the digital twin capability possible, and yeah, definitely excited. Definitely excited about that.
That and also Watson. Hopefully that one comes to fruition pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll see what the reporting feature is called.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah,
up in
we'll
the
see.
air. We're definitely saving that name, and it's in the back pocket somewhere.
Yeah.
Great. I think that's.
We got-
We got. Are there any plans for to integrate with Revisto? I assume for Sherlock.
Yeah, that would be for Sherlock. So the answer to that is no, and most likely there will never be an integration with Revisto, and that is mostly because Revisto has made the choice to eliminate Navisworks from their workflow completely. So they now have their own clashing tool within Revisto. So you're probably not going to use Navisworks for much longer if you're using Revisto. It is, yeah. So no, I don't think we're going to do an integration with Revisto.
But great questions. Thanks
Awesome.
for bringing them in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess we can move forward if there's no more questions. I'm gonna bring things up. So yeah, where can you find us? So we've been talking a lot. It seems like New Orleans is the place to be this year for conferences. We're super excited to be actually getting on an airplane and flying to meet with people. This will be the first time in a few years. For those of you that are going to be coming to either AU or LCI, looking forward to meeting you. Definitely.
Yeah, reach out to us beforehand. We'd love to just chat. And
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If it warrants even a meeting of sorts, other than just walking by the booth, let us know. We'll see what we can do. We're definitely there to meet with you all. So looking forward to that. So yeah, we will be in New Orleans, September and October. As usual, you can get a hold of us on Discord, our Discord community. It's small, it does grow. It's not hyperactive, but people do message on there every once in a while, and we do get back to them. We would like to see it continue to expand. But there's a lot of different ways to get a hold of us, so people find which ones are the most comfortable for them. We do publish all of our updates on there. So yeah.
We did just have a sneaky last minute question over here.
Okay.
Will Sherlock or Daily or PlanScan / SlatPlanner integrate with Autodesk Construction Cloud?
it's very possible.
Very possible. Yeah.
Yeah, Daily will definitely at least get the daily reports and PDFs into Autodesk Construction Cloud. That's for sure. But more tight integrations definitely could be in the future. So yeah,
Awesome.
Just go back to you, Dan, to kind of wrap us up and.
Sure.
Oh.
So yeah.
We just have a coffee mug, so there's one out there. He's just thanking us for it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like mine too. So continuing with the where can you find us? You can also find us on our website, FlyPaper.com. Another great place to find out information about what we're up to is FlyPaper.com/news. I would say we do a really good job of actually publishing what we're doing and our updates, our per milestone updates for Sherlock, Daily, now PlanScan, all that. So definitely, if you want to know what's going on, That website is not dormant. It is active. We are publishing stuff to it. You can definitely find out what's going on with FlyPaper at our website. We're also available on these major social media outlets. So we're on YouTube. We're continuing to publish FlyPaper Academy videos there, and little demos for different features. So definitely check us out there. LinkedIn, we're pretty active on LinkedIn. It seems like most of our user base is there. So we're definitely on LinkedIn, definitely on Facebook, and on Instagram. So you can check us out at all three of those places. Yeah, as I was just saying, our FlyPaper Academy stuff. I forgot about this slide. FlyPaper Academies are, our growing collection of videos that just give quick introductions to key features in our platform. So from Sherlock to Daily, and eventually PlanScan 2 will be making its debut onto FlyPaper Academy as well. Definitely check it out. Definitely give us suggestions on FlyPaper Academy videos. You can submit that through, I think, the feedback or ideas button in Sherlock. There's a feedback button inside of the platform as well. Also, just support at flypaper.com. Definitely let us know. We're certainly eager to get more content out there for you guys. I think this brings us to the end, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for attending. I hope you got some good information out of what we've done over the last year and where we're going. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, if you got any other additional questions you didn't come up with right now, and maybe you think about it later, feel free to get in touch with us. We'd love to set up meetings with people and chat about how we can make our applications better. So thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys all showing up. And if you miss any of these sessions, you want to share them with anybody, we'll send you out a recording of the meeting over the next few days here. So just keep an eye on your inbox. And yep, you can reach out to us, support@flypaper.com, and we'll get back to you with get any questions you had. I'll figure it out.
All right. Thanks. Have a good day.